Welcome back to my Project 13. Today on the Alcatel Idol 3, we're going to discuss performance. I am going to go into developer options under GPU rendering, and I'm going to show you a visual on drop frames. Every day we use these devices, we experience lagginess, stutteriness, sometimes even freezing, whether we're web browsing, whether we're using an app, social media, whatever. Low to high-end devices all go through this. I could care less if you paid $100 to you paid $1,000. You will experience some lagginess of some sort depending on what you're doing. Now, warning, do not go into these options if you don't know what you're doing. It can screw up your device. So I'm going to say that twice. Warning, do not do this if you don't know what you're doing. It will definitely screw up your device. And trust me, you don't want to do that. So basically, if you go into settings and scroll all the way down to about phone, go into build number and tap on that. I think it's 4 or 5 times. I've already done this. It'll give you the option to become a developer. You will go back and you'll see developer options. I will scroll all the way down and go up a little bit to profile GPU rendering. And in there, I will turn on the screen bars. You see those bars. Basically, at this point now, when I'm scrolling either up or down or sideways, you're going to see these bars react. The more gathered they are beneath that green little line, that's less laggy or stutteriness. It's more of a seamless experience at the time of whatever you're doing. If it goes a little crazy, that means there's some stickiness going, and usually you feel that. So these are drop frames. So if I go out and go into the regular settings and I go up and down, you can see that those frames are a little gathered. That means there's hardly any lag whatsoever. So your experience in settings is going to be wonderful because there is hardly any lagginess or stickiness going on. And you can see that. Now, if I go back out of there and let's say I go into the Play Store. Now, at times when it shows those sharp lines go up way above, it's because the page is loading up. Once it loads up and you scroll up and down, you can see at times those are drop pages above and beyond where it should be. And you'll feel a little bit of that stickiness. Again, that's not a deal breaker. And in real life experience, you really can't feel it that much there when you're using this. But compared to when I was in settings, this is a tiny bit stickier. But again, does not bother me whatsoever. And let's go into a different one here. Let's go into YouTube. Okay, it's loading up. So you can see that's the load up process, which was smooth. And there are a little bit of drop frames there. But again, nothing to be concerned about. Still a pretty smooth experience. We're going to tap on recent pages. This is where the device really drops some frames. So if you tap that and it shows all the recent pages that you've been on, let's scroll up and down these and you can see that it goes a little crazy. Even though it feels smooth, it's still showing that it's dropping a lot of frames. But it's when you clean these pages up, you'll see it visually stick as they get swept over to the right, and you'll see a little bit of stickiness, and then you can look at the bars why it's doing that. I would say really that's the only place this device fails at. I don't understand that. I would think that would be an easy thing in the software that would not allow that to do that. More or less when you're in settings, how that experience was super smooth, I would think that would be the same, but for some reason that's the one area that it really sticks a lot and it shows those drop frames. Let's go into maps. And that is a pretty smooth experience, and you can see they're pretty gathered and tight down there. Really nice experience. Let's go back out of there and let's go into Spotify. As that loads up, it shoots up because it's loading up. But once it loads up, you can see those frames are more gathered down there. So I'm hope you're catching what I'm trying to get across, because every day we go, man, why is that kind of sticky, or why is that kind of laggy? Um, every device in certain areas has its own little struggles depending on what web page you're going into or what app you're going into. And I kind of wanted to show you the visual experience on those drop frames, what it looks like. The device wants to gather itself. It wants to be able to go in there smoothly and do that. But sometimes there's so much information, or it consists of a lot in what it is trying to do, that it catches a little bit of lag or whatever. This device is pretty seamless, and the experience on it has been wonderful. There's just been at times, and it's very, very minimal, that I've gotten that. So I will go on one last web page. Phone Arena usually has a lot to load up, and let's get that loaded up here. As you can see, it's trying to load up. That's why it shot up. But now it's smoothing out. This web page here has a lot of information, but for the most part, if you look at the bottom, there's a few little drop frames that shoot up, but for the most part, it's really gathered. And this web page has a lot of information. So we're going to go back out of there. We're back home. I will go back into settings. I will go down to developer options, go back to profile GPU rendering and turn that off. And that's it. Again, do not go into those options if you do not know what you're doing.